6:43. This is 1320 WILS. You know, it's Christmas time, and some people may open up the presents under the tree and find a handgun there. What are the complications of actually gifting somebody a handgun? Edwin Walker joins us, program attorney for U.S. Law Shield. It's uslawshield.com. Edwin, great to have you on WILS.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
In fact, I should note that more gun background checks were conducted on Black Friday this year than any other day in U.S. history. What do you think is happening? Why are so many people running out and getting guns right now?
Well, the gun market is always hot. If you look back through history, these record-setting days have always occurred on Black Friday because a lot of people, a lot of gun stores, they participate in the whole Black Friday, sales. And, a gun is a substantial investment for a lot of people. You can go out and buy a television for $200, but yet a handgun's going to run, a good quality handgun's going to run you anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
Wow.
So if you can get a $1,000 handgun for $699 or $599, of course you're going to go ahead and do it.
Is there any potential problem in gifting somebody a handgun?
There really isn't. A lot of people think there is, and in fact, we get calls all the time about, hey, I want to give somebody a gun. Is that a straw purchase? And that's actually a legal term, a straw man purchase. In fact, the ATF requires that gun stores all post signs that say, don't buy for the other guy because it's actually a felony. And so that has concerned a lot of people because they think that it is illegal to buy a gun and then give it to somebody else, or buy a gun for the purpose of giving it to somebody else. And the thing is it is not.
So what's the difference between that and a straw purchase?
A straw purchase, this issue was actually clarified to a great deal a couple of years ago with a U.S. Supreme Court case. And in the U.S. Supreme Court case, what they said is that it is illegal for one person to take money from another for the purpose of purchasing a firearm under their name.
Okay.
And that's the illegal part. And they actually made a distinction. They said it is perfectly okay for a husband to buy a wife a gun, or for any person to buy a gun as a gift.
Now how does that work, though? Because you're the purchaser, right? You're the one that goes through the background check. Legally, is the gun under your name? Are you responsible for it?
Well, the thing about it is that all you're doing is passing a background check. The background check, the NICS check, is not a form of registration. It's not a form of, it does create a paper trail. So the answer to that question is yes, but it is not a form of designated ownership or of registration. And so you can buy a handgun as a gift under the federal rules. So you're not committing a federal crime. Now, what people have to be thinking about, though, is that every state has laws that says that you cannot give a gun to certain people. You cannot give or sell a gun. Even though these are individualized state laws, every state has them. So if you're buying a gift for a felon and they're a felon, not a good idea. That is a crime under both federal and state law. Somebody under a protective order can't do that. Or somebody who's the subject of a protective order. They're the ones who are being prohibited. So you do have to pay close attention to these little individualized things. But as far as if somebody ever said, I can't buy a gun and give it as a gift, that is a fundamentally incorrect question.
Have you ever given a gun as a gift yourself?
No, I myself have never given a gun as a gift because a gun is a really highly individualized thing. There are people who prefer certain models. There are people who prefer certain calibers. Now, certainly, if you had somebody that you were close to, like your spouse or your father or your mother or your child, and they really had their heart set on it, is like, boy, I really would like to have a Colt 1911 Gold Cup. But I just can't afford it, and you want to splurge. Sure,
it's almost like buying a pair of shoes. You have to try them out and find out if they're right for you. Edwin, one last thing: with Donald Trump coming into office, what do you imagine happening on the Second Amendment front and gun control?
Well, obviously the gun, the gun advocates, we were very happy to see not just Donald Trump win the presidency, because there are so many consequences that flow from that. Number one, he will appoint the next Supreme Court justice. So we know that the odds are that there will not be a fervent anti-Second Amendment justice appointed. Also, what was even more important than Donald Trump winning was the fact that the Republicans and the pro-gun folks retained control of both the House and Senate, because as we saw under Obama, the executive does have a little bit of authority, but not so much authority that it actually would present a dire consequence.
Tell me this, Edwin, are there any gun laws in place right now that you want to see removed?
Well, I believe Donald Trump has proposed about, I think he's put out 5 proposals. One is that he believes that there ought to be universal recognition of licenses, just like there's universal recognition of driver's licenses. There should be universal recognition of handgun licenses.
So you can just drive from state to state knowing that you're okay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Another one is taking silencers or suppressors off of the National Firearms registry, so that you can buy because a suppressor really is a safety device. Of course, we've seen the movies, and people who don't really know anything about guns will think that only mob assassinations, mob hitmen would use suppressors.
It's a safety device, you said? How so?
It's a safety because it's a hearing. It's a muffler.
It keeps you from blowing your eardrums out. Good point. Edwin Walker, program attorney for U.S. Law Shield. Find him at uslawshield.com. Edwin, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.